Hello and welcome to Behind the Bearcat. This is the podcast where the Northwest Missouri State University Career Services Office chats with Northwest faculty, staff, students, alumni, and friends to hear about their career journeys, how they got to where they are, and how they became Bearcats. I'm Northwest Internship Coordinator Travis Klein.
And I'm Hannah Christian, Assistant Director of Career Services here at Northwest. And on today's podcast, we have and here's the thing. I did not ask you how to say your name, which was probably the biggest mistake, but I'm going to try it. We have a Bearcat who graduated from Northwest with a master's degree in teaching English as a second language. She is currently our Membership Development and Events Coordinator for KXCV, KRNW. Please welcome Helen Konstantopoulos. Did I say it right?
So close.
Oh, okay. How do you say it?
It's Konstantopoulos.
Konstantopoulos. I've known you for like several years and I have no idea how to say your last name,
Right.
but
That's okay. Everybody
Now you do, yeah.
Helen.
Konstantopoulos. There you go. All right. Welcome, Helen.
Thank you so much for having me.
So we'll just start out. So knowing Travis has a radio background, and membership development and events coordinator for KXCV KRNW is the radio station on campus, right? Mm-hmm. So tell us what you do in your job.
Well, I do lots of different things more than my title says, obviously. I think the main part of what I do every day is the traffic log for the students to run their radio shows. So I type in, what time the promo is going to be, what time the underwriting is going to be. And so the traffic logs basically are the biggest part of my day. Accounts payable, I do all the invoicing and all the paychecks deposited. So I am
the very important paperwork behind the things you hear on the radio, right?
Yeah. So she's the brains behind KXCV KRNW because that's what the traffic director is. They run the whole place, whether their voice may never be on the radio, but they run the whole show. In my experience, anyway.
I do stuff that doesn't require actual broadcasting experience, which I don't have, but I'm slowly learning.
You have a great voice. You'd be good on there. So you need to get on there.
I've been doing some promos in the past year. And of course, I was forced to do some fundraising pitches because that's the part of the title, for the on-air fund drives. So I have been on air a little bit, just, I'm still not as comfortable as I'd like to be from that perspective.
That's a good point, though. Here's the thing. You have no experience and no credentials, and yet here you are with the actual job. So I like to give people hope. Like, everyone thinks you have to be very specifically trained to do very specific tasks in a job, but that's really not true.
No, it's not. My past and my jobs, basically I've been an educator all my life, a teacher. I was born to be a teacher. So this is I got my degree, my non-teaching job, but I also worked in a restaurant. I like to say I was born in the restaurant business because, that's what my family did all these years. And I did work for Uncle George downtown at A&G Restaurant. So all that customer service and all that multitasking has helped me.
Transfers very well. Yeah,
exactly. And, when I had younger students, I always told them, your first part-time job, waitress or waiter, server, anything in a restaurant, because it's going to teach you all the skills you need for any career that you get.
So your very first part-time job or, where you got paid to work, was it in the restaurant or in a restaurant? It was.
Yeah.
So what did you do? Were you server or hostess?
Well, I did everything because my dad owned the business. So I worked at the A&G in Falls City, Nebraska, and Danny's Restaurant in Hiawatha, Kansas. That's my dad had those two places. So I was cook, I was manager, server, dishwasher, everything. So.
Wow, that's incredible. So a lot of people have part-time jobs in restaurants or in food, but you actually really, because your family owned the business, you got the gamut of experiences, right? What was your favorite one? What was your favorite job if you were to be in restaurant business?
even though it's the hardest, I still like it the best serving, because I'm a people person and I just love the communication and meeting new people and the service aspect.
Taking
But it is
hungry people and making them fed people, right?
Yes. Yes. So now my son has taken over for me. So he works at the restaurant downtown at A&G, and so he's the new me. I've taught him all he knows.
So you said you always knew that you wanted to be a teacher. So you're working in a restaurant, your family owns a restaurant. Like, how did you know that you wanted to be a teacher? Or, what experiences kind of pointed you in that direction?
That's a good question. I've never really thought about it, but just in helping my other classmates sometimes. But I remember the first actual teaching gig that I had. I was a senior in high school in Falls City, Nebraska, and they asked some seniors to go into the middle school and teach the 8th graders the bad effects of smoking and talk about that. So I really loved it. And I guess that was how the journey began.
So, okay. So then I'm assuming you went to college with the idea that you were going to be a teacher, right? A lot of students, you want to be a teacher, you kind of start off in that path. Can you talk to me about how did you pick the college that you chose, and what was your experience like as an undergraduate?
Well, I lived in Nebraska. So the University of Nebraska was obviously the Ivy League. And I did get a small math scholarship to go there. It was tiny, but being in state, I was able to go there. That's how I chose that. And I went into education, as I said, secondary education, emphasis on mathematics and German.
Mathematics teacher and German. That's
and
quite
German.
That's
hard.
quite a combination.
Yep. Yeah. So it was really hard to double major. My college years were tough, but they were also fantastic.
So why did you pick German? So, okay. Yeah. I understand, English, math, reading, all of those. So why choose German? Did you know German? Did you speak German? Was it interesting to you? How did you make that choice?
Basically my 2 favorite classes in high school. I was really close to the German teacher, Mrs. Beal. I still remember her name. I don't remember any other names very well, and I was very good at math, and I loved, solving problems and all that. So I thought those two would be a nice combination, that I could get into any school easily.
And so once you got through and got your certification, I'm assuming you graduated with math and German teaching. Did you teach after that?
I taught, but not math and German.
Oh, tell us more.
Here's where the new journey began, a different fork in the road. I double majored in 4 years, did it all in 4 years.
That's a lot of work. Yes.
Yes. And 2 very difficult fields. So I went to visit my dad, who was living in Greece at the time, and so was my sister. And I ended up making 1 month into 2, 2 into 3, 3 into 4. And then I'm like, okay, I'll stick around. So I needed to get a job. So that's where I began teaching English as a second language, or as it's officially called, English as a foreign language. When you're in that country, it's their foreign language. So I was able to bring...
teaching to, sorry for my interruptions.
No,
I'm just so fascinated. So were you teaching high schoolers English as a foreign language, or what age group of students were you teaching at that time?
All age groups. In Greece, there are private language schools because everyone sends their kids to learn English so that they can get a certificate that says, I'm proficient in English. They believe that with that certificate, it's a foot in the door for any career that they want to get. Greece depends on tourism, and everybody needs to know English. So it's big business, or it was back then. So that's where I was able to bring in my teaching education, even though it wasn't math or German. What I learned from German, which was teaching a foreign language, I was able to use for English as a foreign language.
So are you fluent in Greek as well? Do you speak Greek?
I am bilingual, yes.
Okay, you have to say something to me in Greek.
In Greece.
No pressure, but
Σας ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ που με δεχτήκατε σήμερα. Είσαστε πολύ ωραίοι.
Okay, I have no idea what you said, but I loved it. What did you say? Can you interpret that? Like, tell me what you said.
I believe I said, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really enjoying this. You guys are great.
That was awesome. That just made my day.
So how long did you stay in Greece teaching English?
Well, a long time.
Okay.
I ended up meeting my husband, getting married, having my 2 kids, and then things started getting tough economically. So we moved to Maryville, where Uncle George both gave us jobs at A&G. So I was server and manager at A&G for 5 years. When an opportunity came up to work with students from Niigata, Japan here at Northwest for the ESL program. It had been like a 4-week program, but then it turned into an 8-week program, and they needed a 3rd teacher. So magically, I got that foot in the door. Eventually we moved back to Greece because we wanted our kids to be raised near family and to learn Greek. So I continued ESL in Greece. And then lo and behold, they needed an ESL teacher, a full-time ESL teacher here. And it hit with the economic crisis in Greece. So we moved back to Maryville, and I became a Northwest staff member, teaching English as a second language. Yeah.
That is incredible. So before we go on, I do want to go on because teaching English as a second language does not seem to translate directly into membership development at the radio station. But
No.
I'm interested in moving back and forth so many times between Greece and Maryville. Because we have a lot of people, honestly. So in Maryville, we have a lot of international students. We have international faculty, people who have to move. Maryville is not easy to get to from anywhere. So if you had like some tips or tricks on traveling to a different country or moving to a different country. I visited with a student earlier last week who was interested in finding a job in a different country. Maybe you could help us out. Like, what are some roadblocks? What are some things that we like that might help us out to know about moving back and forth between countries, working in different countries?
I would love to be of help with that, but I'm a 1st-generation American born to 2 immigrants from Greece. And so I have dual citizenship. I didn't have to go through what is it called? The hoops. the hoops of all the paperwork and the visas and all that, because you do need specific work visas for wherever
country.
Mm-hmm. And so I didn't have that to go through. So it's pretty easy for me.
You had also the advantage of family relationships. So, exactly. And a family business. So, it's not like you had to go looking for work. You could just be like, hello, Uncle George.
Exactly.
I've showed up for work today.
One thing I've been very careful of, because I guess it just causes a lot of anxiety. I never moved before I knew I had a job. So I didn't make that leap, except for the first time when I actually went on vacation to visit family and ended up staying there. But when I moved back here, I had the job at A&G ready to go. When I moved back to Greece for my kids to start school there, I made sure I had a teaching job before I moved. And then when I came back here again, I had that teaching job here at Northwest. That just relieved the anxiety for me, and we knew where we were going.
That's a very wise,
Yeah.
I think that's a good piece of that's a very good piece of wisdom.
Yeah.
I'd say
Don't
even
move until
moving
you have the job.
even state to state. That's because, if you're going somewhere and you don't
Yeah.
have a social network to plug into or family to connect to, like, have something. A job is at least you're going to have the
Yeah.
money, but you're also going to meet people. So yeah, that's good advice for
Exactly.
anybody.
If you don't have the family or some kind of connection, you need to really get the job first, because you don't know where you need to be living to get to the job. You don't know how much rent money you'll need. You have to connect a lot of things. Oh, sorry about that.
No, that's all right.
No worries.
Something.
Okay, so you're back here. You're full-time teaching English as a second language at Northwest. Then what happens? How long did you do that?
I did that for 5 years. I was shy of 5 years by 11 days. Yeah. Unfortunately, they decided to do away with the English as a second language program back in 2007, was it? Yes. So that's when a lot of programs got cut, and we were one of those. So then that's where my initial degree came in handy. I got a job teaching math at a community high school here in the area. And it was probably the hardest job I ever had in a public school system, teaching math after 30 years. So I had to reteach myself everything and, study every night. And it was a very, very tough year. But I gained a lot of experience and, I love teaching, as I said. So I love the interaction with students. So I don't regret it, but it was hard.
That's also an interest. So both that it was difficult and also that, because I think a lot of, especially students, if they're fresh grads and they can't get a job in their field, or they, their first job offer is not in their initial field, they feel like they've failed. But here's the thing, like your degree is an investment. It's not,
Exactly.
And it may pay off 30 years later. I mean, that really saved you, having that degree that you could just pull out and be like, hey, look at this. I've already prepared myself in this area.
Yep. And it helped me get the job in Greece as well, starting off,
That's incredible. Yeah.
So yeah, even though it wasn't in math, the actual teaching degree, helped me. And the fact that I had a college degree, because that proved that I was proficient in the language, and having the teaching degree also, helped me get my start.
Prove that you were a teacher or could teach or had training, professional training in teaching.
Exactly. So.
Okay. So you taught math. Then how long did you teach math?
1 year.
An arduous year of teaching math.
Yes. And as I was preparing that summer, my daughter decided to study abroad and go back to Greece because she didn't like it here. So she left. And so we went to Greece to move her into an apartment, get her set up for school there in Athens. And I was just studying for my second year when I saw this job opening, because I'm like, I'm just going to take a look, see if Northwest has anything that I could possibly do. Because like I said, even though I love teaching, it was really hard for me. So, and the job came up, and everything listed on the criteria I had done at one point in my life or another. So planning events was a big part of my job as an ESL instructor, because it was just the two of us, myself and Nancy Hardy. So we did all the tours for the international students. We did their, we did everything. So I had a lot of experience that came into play here. And of course, the restaurant, managing different students. And so.
I that's an interesting, so we talk kind of glibly about ESL, but talk to us about the process of learning a foreign language, because obviously multiple languages yourself, and you've helped students in languages you weren't fluent in, and you've learned German, and what is helpful in learning a language, or as your experience as a teaching foreign languages, what helps students learn? What benefit is there to knowing a second language?
Oh, huge benefit, because it connects the left and the right brain. If you're bilingual, they say, you use more percentage of your brain than
you can talk to twice as many people.
you can talk to twice as many people. To be successful in learning a foreign language, you have to be exposed to it. You have to have it as part of your life every day. And obviously, if you're living in the States and you want to learn Spanish, you got to take the time to either watch a Spanish show every day or travel to Mexico or another Spanish-speaking country. Get that exposure so that it becomes part of your daily life. Because if you don't use it, you lose it.
You lose it.
I spent 4 years in high school, 4 years in college, and I studied abroad one summer in Austria, and I don't know German anymore. So 8 years of my life, and unfortunately, because I wasn't exposed to it daily, I lost it. I mean, I remember a few things, bits and pieces, and I'm sure if I, opened up a book and started reteaching myself, it would click, but
it's not directly, you can't walk up to someone and just carry on a fluent conversation in German.
Nope, not at all. So you doesn't matter how long you study, if you're not using it, it's not going to be there for you. So
do you think, I'm interested, you studied math and then teaching German. Math is kind of its own kind of language, really, too. So do you think that I could see whether there's kind of a correlation between teaching math to people that don't know that level of math and then teaching English to a student who has basic understanding but needs to get, because the ESL program, every student who would come to Northwest, they have to pass the TOEFL, they have to have basic English skills, and then the ESL program was to make them conversational and functional with it. So I would think there'd be a very similar line between teaching high schoolers algebra and teaching international students English.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It is its own language. Mathematics is a language. It's just harder.
Yeah. Very few of us speak it well. So I don't speak it well at all.
What was your favorite part, of math? What is your favorite mathiness?
I love algebra. So, finding what the X is, again, because it's a mystery,
That's a good way to think of it, really.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right. So let's come back to membership development and events coordinator. So you told us a few pieces. So, events coordinator, doing outings and getting students integrated into, an English speaking culture, working at the restaurant. I mean, a restaurant itself is an event, right?
Yeah.
Talk about maybe more of the member development side. What kind of skills were useful to you for that? What is member development? I don't even know.
Well, I didn't know either until I started this job. I've been learning as I've been going. It is fundraising, basically. Getting community members to invest in us. And keeping track of the records, who past members were, sending out mailings to remind them that we need their support, having fund drives, sending out thank you notes, a lot of communication skills. Okay, so you need to be able to write well and speak well and keep good records, spreadsheets and docs and all that. So,
which is also very similar to good restaurant skills, right? Yes. You need to be able to communicate well and also keep good records.
Yes.
For those that don't know, we kind of talk about KXCB, KRNW, your national public radio affiliate. So people, if they're only used to the other side of radio, the commercial radio, that's a whole different ballgame than NPR.
Yes, we are what is called a public radio station. So we don't run commercials. They don't. Businesses don't pay us to sell their name, but we can sell underwriting to them. They can underwrite programs. For example, we have the program running right now, Rhythm and Roots. If there's a business in the vicinity that would like to sponsor that, we call that underwriting, which I learned here as well. I had no idea what it was. They can choose to support the program. So it would say Rhythm and Roots is underwritten by, and then give the business name. So it is sort of like a commercial, but not. We're not selling the business. They're just showing their support to the program.
Yeah, providing information, but no call to action, right? Isn't that the difference?
Exactly. Perfect, Travis.
I
know better.
I remember my radio classes. Yes.
A+ in radio.
Because I could never write. I had a really hard time with underwriting assignments in college because I came from that commercial background where the call to action was that was the thing. It was mention this ad to get $5 off or come and buy this. And then when I had to write stuff for classes, for like KXCV, I struggled. It was hard because the whole point was cut out. So it was difficult. So yeah, they're very different, but
they are very
public radio is wonderful though. It's, if you don't support your public radio and public television station, you should. They're very important. So please do that.
That was Travis's call to action.
Absolutely. Yes.
Thank you very much, Travis. And if I can also plug in, it is our 50th year anniversary.
Yeah. That's amazing.
We'll be celebrating all year long. So wish us happy birthday. Support us by writing a check.
In honor of the 50th anniversary.
Absolutely.
Right. So we don't make money like commercial radio does. We depend on the listeners to help us keep the radio station going. And what else was I going to say? Oh, another big part of my job that you might be interested in is social media. I'm also kind of the coordinator of social media, or co-coordinator, because Matt Tritton also does the sports aspect, and I do the news side and the community events. So I'm always putting things on our website and on Facebook and Twitter. So that's another big component of my job that I've also had to
developed skills in, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm very interested. So I'm very interested in your answer to this question because of you have such a vastly different experience than many of the people, dual citizenship, moving back and forth, different languages. I'm very interested to know, what does it mean to you to be a Bearcat?
I love being a Bearcat. Once a Bearcat, always a Bearcat, right? I was a Bearcat before I got my master's degree, before I, from Northwest. I just, I don't know, it's family, it's community. I don't know, I feel a part of something. And I think you become whole as a person when you're part of a community, part of a family like that. And I truly believe that Northwest is community and family.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You're also, before we get into the final part here, you're also really active with the Ally group for staff members on campus. So do you want to talk about that, what it is and kind of what you guys do?
Yes, so we have the Ally Affinity group on campus for faculty and staff members. We get together once a month and just discuss racial issues and how to better ourselves to be a better ally to underrepresented students. So we support the Diversity and Inclusion Office with their events and try to take part in all the workshops and the book clubs. We watch movies and have movie discussions on different themes. For our next meeting, which is coming up Wednesday. For this semester, there are Wednesdays at noon, the last Wednesday of each month at noon, sorry. We're going to talk about the Black Bill of Rights. So we're each learning what that is, and then we're going to come together and discuss that. So it's just a learning process, how to better support our underrepresented students and be better allies, and how to be more visible and more supportive to our students.
And if someone wants to join that, they can just show up. What do they have to do?
They can just email me at Helen K, or email directly the Ally group, which is just the word ally. Both of those at nwmissouri.edu. And then we'll put you on the emailing list. We also have a Canvas site. So past articles, informations, videos, and whatnot is all on Canvas. So there's more learning opportunity through that. Of course, we have a Facebook page and a Twitter account as well. But to be invited to the group and the meetings, we need to know who you are. So you can just shoot us an email and we'll get you in the group. So it's just a pretty relaxed group. We're open. We just ask and answer questions, talk about our feelings. You know, this past summer was pretty rough. We had a lot of emotions. So it was nice to have that group to talk.
A supportive place.
Yeah.
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 All right. Well, one thing we've been doing before the end of the podcast is giving everybody a chance to just share anything that they have on their mind, anything that's going on. Just it's your space.
That's a lot of pressure. I want everybody to just sit back and listen, be kind, be civil. There's always more sides to a story, more perspectives than just one, and nothing is linear.
And this is coming from the mathematician. Let's be clear.
Okay. I don't consider myself a mathematician anymore, but yes, I did go through all the hard work, so I'll take it. It makes me sound smart. As far as future career, since we're, that's, I think, what you guys do, right? Getting Bearcats ready for the future. I think, any job you can, you do, you can take those skills and put them into any job. Any degree you get, what you've learned, you can translate to other areas. You don't have to be a math teacher if you have a math degree, because just the critical thinking involved with learning math has helped you with skills that you could use in any field. So I think that's important. And as far as studying at a university, get a calendar. Write down all your assignments. The planner is your best life. When I was a freshman, and I tell all my seminar students, because I do teach university seminar, I tell them that my freshman year, the first semester was hell. And then I got a planner. And I wrote down, my TV time, this is the time I study for German, this is the time I study for math, this is when I get exercise. I wrote everything down. And after that, I had a great time at university and good grades, finished strong.
And did a very rigorous course of study in a short period of time.
So planner is key. Know all your deadlines. And now it's so much easier because all the devices are connected and you can just pop it on your phone and everything dings at the same time. You got a paper coming up, It's easy, you guys, now for you.
I know. Back in the day, we had to write it with a pencil on a piece of paper. It was not this phone thing.
And we had to get all those colored pens, so we can color code all our classes. And so that's my advice.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on our podcast. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. It's been fun.
Take it away, Travis.
Yeah, that will do it for another episode of Behind the Bearcat, and we'll talk to you next time. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed that episode. Don't forget to follow on your podcast platform of choice and on YouTube. Also, click the little notification bell on YouTube so you never miss an upload. And you can follow us on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and we have a LinkedIn page.